Griffin, but with the way this administration is functioning right now, I'm not exactly sure that the, quote, geniuses from MIT are going to be falling over themselves to come work for the U.S. government. Nothing like watching a deranged billionaire take a hatchet to any semblance of job security that really drives home the come work for us message. Now, Trump himself was asked about the feud, and of course, pretended it didn't happen.
Yesterday, some details about your cabinet meeting with Elon Musk and some clashes potentially between Secretary and Secretary.
No clash. I was there. You're just a troublemaker. And you're not supposed to be asking that question because we're talking about the World Cup. Elon gets along great with Marco, and they're both doing a fantastic job. There is no clash.
Mr. President,
Who are you with? Who are you with? Oh, no wonder. That's enough. NBC.
Elon Musk or the cabinet secretary?
Any other questions about the World Cup?
Although something Elon did might have already tipped his hand. According to an account that tracks the follows and unfollows of Elon's Twitter account, Elon apparently just started unfollowing Sean Duffy. So either it's true that Elon's second most thin-skinned man got into a fight and showed it by throwing a little temper tantrum and unfollowing his former friend, or it's just one big coincidence that Elon just so happened to unfollow a Trump cabinet secretary apropos of nothing 5 minutes after the New York Times reported that they got to a fight. Take all the time you need. And let's be clear, these intra-Trump world fights have been simmering for most famously, there's a major rift between Steve Bannon and Elon Musk, with Bannon regularly saying stuff like this.
Of crony capitalism, Elon Musk. And by the way, when we cut him off, he went begging the CCP, and that's why they have the joint venture in Shanghai, the Tesla, which is 100% of his value, right? This guy lives on government contracts and taxpayer subsidies, okay? It's all that we're going to get Joe Allen in here for a second transhuman. But Elon Musk, once again, brother, I'm smart enough to tell you no to your face, and I'm evil enough to be able to expose you as a running dog for the greatest enemy this nation's ever had. You're a war profiteer. You're sleeping with the enemy, brother. You've been doing it because you're not an American nationalist. You're not even an American. All you are is a globalist, okay? A globalist. And you will go where anybody writes your check, and you would take it from Adolf Hitler himself because you're taking it from people that are as bad as Adolf Hitler. I think until Elon Musk starts letting back on the most true anti-CCP people that keeps blocked off there, myself included, not that one. He's owned by the Chinese Communist Party. What are you talking about? Tesla, it's owned in steps of honest no values. Tesla. Marx wants its own stock. The Shanghai joint venture is 100% controlled by the CCP. This is why he never goes after the CCP. This is why he always backs off. This is when they had the protest. They had the protest about the lockdown. Elon Musk is a total complete but business party. He's done some good stuff. I'm letting stuff down. This is fine. But he is owned lock, stock, and barrel by the Chinese Communist Party in any accident.
And to his credit, Bannon's telling the truth about Elon being owned by China. For example, remember that very first spending bill that Republicans passed when they took the majority, the one that Elon pressured them to initially kill? Yeah, that's because the original version was to screen and regulate U.S. investments in China. That provision was gone once that funding was actually passed. That's because Elon is deeply ingrained in the Chinese auto market, and Tesla's success is reliant on continuing doing business. So for all those suckers who think that Elon's just being a hatred of the United States of America, yeah, not so much. Elon is looking out for one person. And that much is obvious across the political spectrum. According to the Washington Post, Musk having a prominent role in the administration was viewed as a bad thing, 54-28 by a nearly 2-to-1 ratio. The post-Ipsos poll showed Americans disapproved by a similarly wide margin, 52-26, of Musk shutting down federal government programs that they decided were unnecessary, and Americans said 60-34 that they are concerned about Musk's team getting access to their data, which is the subject of high-profile legal fights. Even 47% of Republican-leaning voters said that they're at least somewhat concerned about Musk getting their data. So when the cabinet secretaries start to get testy with their co-president Elon Musk,
every day, you know what I mean? all it is. Like, it ain't even no mission. And
running to be the next Prime Minister of Canada is HkhUytjwRu Freeland. She's the former Deputy Prime Minister and former Minister of Finance. She joins me now. Ms. Freeland, appreciate you being with us. First of all, what do you make of this whiplash coming from the White House, full steam ahead on tariffs and on pause, and there are more threats? Is this a coherent strategy?
Well, look, there have been more flip-flops than we can keep track of here in Canada. But what we do know is, the Prime Minister is right, the Wall Street Journal is right. These are the dumbest tariffs in history. This is utterly self-mutilating. It's really a perverse approach, Anderson, because America is hurting itself. Moving in this direction, the president is killing the U.S. stock market. Your stock market is actually performing worse than the stock market in Europe or in Canada. You're going to raise the prices on gas. You're going to raise the prices on groceries. You're going to make electricity more expensive. And all for what reason? Because Canadians aren't nice enough? I mean, come on. This is just utterly absurd. America is hurting itself. And the end result has been to do something which is really hard to do, antagonize Canadians. There is this wave of patriotism in Canada right now, the likes of which I have never seen in my life. We started off being really hurt by this because we know that we are really good friends to you, really good neighbors. We know that so much of America's prosperity has been built on the foundation of having Canada the best neighbor in the world to your north. But now I would say Canadians are getting really angry.
Well, let me the president has, you are a candidate to be the next Prime Minister of Canada. The president has attacked you personally, calling you a, quote, whack, and claiming credit for your resignation as Finance Minister and Deputy Prime Minister. How would you approach these negotiations if you became the new head of the government? Because what the president is saying is, Canada's been ripping off American on lumber and dairy, and that this would be payback for that.
Well, Anderson, I and the vast majority of Canadians consider that name calling by the president to be juvenile, but also a compliment. And during the first negotiations we had with President Trump, there was tons of name calling, there was tons of hollering and kicking and screaming. During the negotiations themselves, his nickname for me was the Killer, which I definitely took as a compliment. And the good news is, after all, coming from him, right? But the good news is, after all of that kicking and shouting and screaming, and after the president said he was going to rip up his trade deal with us, we renegotiated it. He said the new deal that we have now was the best trade deal ever. I negotiated it. I happen to agree with him. He did impose tariffs on us. My response was dollar for dollar retaliation. And after a few months, without any concessions, he lifted those tariffs. And the reason for that, Anderson, is, the laws of economics, they're like the laws of gravity. You can do all kinds of social media posts and make up funny names. But at the end of the day, the laws of economics prevail. And the reality is, your economic relationship with us is great. It is balanced. It is mutually beneficial. It is good for the United States. It is good for Canada. And that's why, as Prime Minister, my approach would be united, strong, and smart. I'm sure there would be lots of insults. I'm sure there would be lots of name calling. And I'm also sure at the end of the day, we would get back to a win-win.
Ms. Freeland, I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Joining me now is former chair of the Council of Economic Advisors under President Joe Biden, our friend Jared Bernstein. Jared, so in a new MSNBC.com article, you say that the tariffs are already taking a toll on the economy from the rising uncertainty felt by consumers and businesses, and you cite the February plunge in the Consumer Confidence Index. So what is worse? Is it the uncertainty? Is it the tariffs? And how long before Trump's it's on, it's off approach seriously hurts the economy?
Well, it's always great to be with you, and you're asking exactly the right questions. I think the answer, how long, is already upon us. So we saw the stock market down 3% this week. 1 week in the stock market isn't the biggest outcome in the world. Well, what it's really telling us is that investors are spooked. And investors are spooked by precisely what you just accurately called the whiplash of this back and forth. So at this point, these tariffs, whether they've been administered or proposed, are deeply unpopular with producers, the car companies themselves. The American car companies that were supposed to be helped by these tariffs were the ones that went to the White House and asked for this reprieve. Investors, as we've discussed, and consumers who uniformly view them as raising their prices.
So, look, Donald Trump himself has been a personal fan of tariffs for decades, though he has not offered clarity on why he is so hell-bent on imposing them on Canada and Mexico, which, by the way, will undo his own USMCA trade agreement that he negotiated 4.5 years ago during his first term. And again, the Wall Street Journal called it the dumbest trade war in history. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau called the move very dumb. And Canada's retaliatory tariffs, Chair, they are still going forward despite Trump's pause. So if Canada and Mexico hold firm, where does this go?
Well, where does this go with this administration is a very hard question to answer based on precisely what we've discussed already, this back and forth, these reprieves, these deadlines, all of which create a really pessimistic, I'd even say a toxic environment for American investors. One of the problems with these tariffs that the Trump team just seems to refuse to wrap their head around is that at this point, about 45% of our imports, things we buy from other countries, are actually inputs into our own manufacturing. We call them intermediate inputs. So when you put a tariff on something that a domestic producer uses to make things, that makes domestic manufacturing more expensive. That's why the car producers themselves ask for a reprieve. It's why Alcoa constantly goes to the Trump administration and says, can we have a reprieve from the aluminum tariffs that you've imposed to try to help this? You ask a very piercing question as to why they continue to pursue this when everyone from the left wing to the conservative Wall Street Journal is calling this dumb. And I think that's a fair question, but I think those assessments are correct.
So when you talk about these specifics, so this is like what some small part or something being put together. It's done in the United States. It crosses over the border to get something adjusted to it. It crosses back. I was hearing about in Maine where lobstering, that is the lifeblood of the Maine economy. Apparently, the majority of lobsters caught in Maine are sent for processing to Canada. Slap a tariff on it right there. When they come back across the border to be sold or eaten in our restaurants here in the U.S., let's put another tariff on that. What's that going to do to Maine?
It's going to do bad things to Maine producers and consumers. And look, I mean, what you're describing is something I've long described under the rubric of you can't unscramble the globalization omelet. I suppose you could if you wanted to break a lot of things, but the question is why? What you just described is a microcosm of a highly integrated North American production system, whether it's autos, food, lumber, energy. This is a highly integrated system, and it's one that I would say, to their credit, the Trump administration in their first term helped build with the USMCA, the United States, Mexican, Canada Trade Agreement, which they're now obviously ignoring. You could, as I've said, and as you could break this highly integrated system. You can't de-integrate it, not in a month. Maybe you could in 6 months or a year, but why? That is the question that I have not heard anything close to an answer to. Why would you want to de-integrate a system that's highly integrated, providing benefits to consumers and workers on both sides of the border? Again, this is not just me talking. The very businesses called the White House this week and said, don't do this.
President Donald Trump with a new threat to Canada, saying the U.S. may place reciprocal tariffs on Canada soon, floating a possible 250% tax on dairy products. While the Wall Street Journal reports the Justice Department is investigating what caused egg prices to rise. Joining me now, Congressman Jimmy Gomez, Democrat from California and a member of the Ways and Means Committee. Congressman, welcome back to the show. And you are also a member of the Dad's Caucus, and you've been pushing for action on the rising eggs, the grocery prices. What are your thoughts today as a new tax on Canadian dairy products, 250%? is looming?
I do a lot of the shopping in my family. I go with my wife and my son, and we see the prices going up and up and up, and our savings going down and down and down. Americans are struggling when it comes to the cost of eggs, when it comes to the cost of dairy, when it comes to the cost of bread. So these tariffs are just going to make everything worse. And unfortunately, this administration, Donald Trump, Secretary Bessent, they really don't care that it's going to hurt American people, that the working class is going to hurt. I call this the let them eat cake administration, because it's made up of billionaires that are out of touch with the struggles of everyday Americans.
Okay, that's of course reflecting the French Revolution language. So can a DOJ investigation help reduce egg prices? And how much more can the Trump administration do if bird flu is mostly to blame?
Well, one of the things that they can start doing is really hiring back the people that were studying the bird flu, trying to develop a strategy to deal with it, and then at the same time digging into that issue. The DOJ, fine, go ahead, investigate. But I think that's just a red herring, no pun intended, that they're trying to distract the American people, that they're actually not doing anything about egg prices. Since he got in office, egg prices have increased 33%, and it's only getting worse. And remember, he said on day one, he would lower costs for everyone, especially on groceries.
Yeah. Also new to discuss this week, the Doge drama, a clash in the Oval Office over Elon Musk's unilateral cuts, and NBC's Gabe Gutierrez posed a direct question.
See, Canada has cracked the Trump code. I gotta be honest, I'm not trying to be mean. Cracked the Trump code better than the Democrats have. Canadians, conservatives included to some degree, like Doug Ford, they've cracked the code better than American domestic opponents of Trump. They've been more
I surrender to you. Please spare my life.
That voice. Are you?
I surrender to you. Please spare my life.
That voice. Are you?
I am so sorry. You won fair and square. Now would you let me go, please?
Mercy. After I killed all your men.
The knight's solemn duty is to protect their master. As long as I live to see another day, they would be happy, I'm sure.
Happy they died. Whatever.
Now's my chance. Master, as long as I live to see another day, they would be happy, I'm sure.
Happy they died. Whatever.
Now's my chance.
What you doing?
That was a mistake I deeply regret, so please don't kill me.
the entry permit. Can you get me that?
Yes, I certainly could. My family is holding on to the one for this floor. Please consider it yours as a token for sparing my life. And not only that, I also know where the upper floor permits are. If you guarantee mine and my family's safety, I would be happy to serve as your guide and show you the way.
Your family's hiding the permit. Now we get it. No wonder I couldn't find it. One question. You're a demon. Can I trust anything coming out of your mouth?
Of course you can. I speak the truth. I'd never lie to you.
All right, then. You agree to give me the permit? I'll agree to leave in peace.
I will not soon forget this kindness.
But would you mind explaining just what you are?
I am the eldest daughter of the HkhUytjwRu family. Listen.
Cool, but not exactly what I meant. I was hoping she'd give me more information about the system, like what I learned from Barca. Do you demons hear a voice in your heads, commanding you to slaughter every human you see?
Oh, well, there is a voice, but it gives a different order.
Which is?
To protect this place no matter what.
When did it start?
We've heard it since our arrival.
They came from somewhere else. Where were you before?
The demon realm. Then one day we woke up and found ourselves here.
This demon realm. What did you do there? Oh.
War. We were preparing for an imminent war.
War? Against whom?
Adversary so strong all humankind had to unite to face it. It seemed a monumental war was on the horizon. Permitted amount of information exceeded. Ending conversation. Permitted amount of information exceeded. Ending conversation.
I guess that's all I'm gonna get. This is the damage assessment and combat log from the winged ant appearance on the nearby island within Japan's borders. It isn't pretty. 294 civilians were killed by the ant, and 108 hunters deployed to contain it. As for hunter casualties, there were 4 E ranks, a single C rank, and a B rank.
You'd think it was a colony's work, not one ant.
The decisive factor was an A rank who arrived on the scene later and landed the fatal blow.
So one of these mutated ants is on par with an A-rank hunter, then?
That lines up with the conclusions from the surveillance team's necropsy, so I'd say yes.
The attack took place 120 kilometers from Jeju Island. Should the ants gain any further mastery over flight, it will only be a matter of time before they reach the mainland. Contact Japan and request to join forces. Reach out to our neighbors, too. Tell them to raise the threat level ASAP.
Yes, sir.
We can't put it off any longer. Time's already against us. I want this crisis handled before any more lives are lost. Therefore, as chairman of the Hunters Association, I hereby initiate the 4th Jeju Island raid.
I don't know why I suddenly passed out like that. I'm sorry for the extra trouble.
Nah, don't worry about it. Are you feeling okay now?
Yes, I'm much better. It's kind of you to ask, considering.
Just being polite. More importantly, how much further is it?
Oh, it's close. Keep going straight and you'll reach the castle. Then the entry permit will be yours.
What the blazes have you allowed into our home, Metal? Are you mad? He may appear to be one man, but soldiers dwell within his shadow, hordes of them.
Huh. I'm impressed he noticed.
You have deceived her. If this is an attempt to take our castle, I'll see your death first.
Father, calm down. I can explain.
Your daughter and I have an agreement. Hand over the permit for the next floor. Nobody here has to get hurt.
The human must be the one who slayed Vulcan and Metis. I honestly don't see how we could best someone capable of that.
Pleasure doing business with you.
Pleasurable or not, that business is finished. Now be gone from my castle at once.
There is one other thing. I'd like to borrow your daughter. No, not like that. As a guide, I mean. She said she knows where to find all the entry permits about this point.
That won't let any harm come to her.
I swear.
Very well. I will allow it.
Security chief to new arrivals. Could have used you sooner, but welcome just the same. I'm in the mansion, command center. Injured, but intact. Most everyone else is, well, you've got eyes. Look, we need to get this situation under control ASAP. Be ready for anything. Alpha, search the area. We've got 3 Janus Science personnel missing. Their knowledge is critical to mission success, and we take care of our own.
Double
Busting heads for fun and profit. And business is booming.
First, maybe I just get along well with people.
Sorry you came here yet. Well,
yeah.
if anyone had to show up, I'm glad it was you.
Said the enemies ever had with him, Joe. And I made a promise to your phone. You tell me when to find the rest of the entry.
That's a relief. I was sure you'd have me over a barrel. Again.
Stop it.
bonus points.
Besson wasn't kidding. I saw a drastic spike in difficulty on the 90th floor. Have it your way. Let's head out. effect from the white tiger is also. In addition, aspirin will be an official joint operation. It's still under consideration. We'll be meeting with members of the association to discuss strategy.
That's one daunting moment. I can tell. That's one daunting aura. I can tell this won't be easy. That creature is not going to be a problem too. Blackbird, so he commands more than just demons. Oh, yeah. I know.
The demon monarch of Iran isn't just a ghost. He's a sovereign. And Sir Gino invaded his castle. Sir Gino. Isn't just a ghost. He's a sovereign. When Sir Gino invaded his castle, he should be eliminated. Who do I side with? Lord Marwan or Sir Gino?
That's no ordinary lightning. It's white mage magic with a stunning blow. That can revive good soldiers.
Sorry, but looking up the star.
That's what you mean.
Which one? So, depends on which one.
We provided a visual to explain some critical points we'd like to touch on. But only lived for about a year. The remaining ants will die off in many years' time. One of the ants will try not to scream with animals. The more vulnerable, the more attracted the ants. As such, we'll organize our strategy. Another else race.
We're required by thousands of ants, since we're only creating one. 10 SRA countries. Yes, that could work. If there's no one here opposed, let's begin tactical planning. Time to potion. Blood tomato strike. It's so strong. Which is all my strength. And combine it with a ruler's hands.
I surrender to you. Please spare my life.
That voice. Are you?
I'm so sorry. You weren't fair and square. Now would you let me go? Please?
Tariffs are the left's new boogeyman. Democrats are incessantly screaming that Trump's duties on Canada, Mexico, and China will ruin the economy. But that's not what we're seeing play out. In Spark Notes version, these countries need us more than we need them.
This is something that we have to do. There'll always be a little short-term interruption. I don't think it's going to be big, but the countries and companies that have been ripping us aren't particularly happy with what the United States will be very happy.
President Trump today agreed to pause some of the tariffs on Canada and Mexico for 1 month. That will be applied to goods compliant with the USMCA, cars making up a large chunk of that.
Canada and Mexico have until April 2nd, the day that reciprocal tariffs take effect, for our neighbors to get it together on the fentanyl crisis. And as Democrats whine about Trump's game plan, they fail to recognize how this negotiation tactic puts these countries on a deadline to comply with us.
President 47 vowing to change the massive trade deficit. Compliments of sleepy Joe Biden. Today we got the last read on trade under that old man for more than $131 billion in June. His final month in office, up more than $33 billion from December, the largest monthly increase ever since they've been keeping statistics.
Even Sean Fain's United Auto Workers Union is on Team Trump tariffs, writing this in a statement, quote, "We are glad to see an American president take aggressive action on ending the free trade disaster that has dropped like a bomb on the working class."
But the Democrats won't bring that up when they complain. They also won't talk about the China factor. How Trump is using America's economic power to get other countries to take action against the communist country.
Walmart is now even knocking on China's door, asking it to absorb the cost of tariffs so customers don't have to.
This afternoon, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent summed up China's stake in the game.
So China is exporting their policies to us they decimated our manufacturing sector. There's a new paper out called The China Shock. It said the communities recovered, the workers haven't. And so clearly the policy is not working for working Americans. So China, they exported their policies, and tariffs are one way to push back on this. It's like California versus Texas.
Here House React, I'm pleased to say, is Breitbart economics and finance editor John Carney. John, so good to have you on the program this evening because we want to get your thoughts about this, more on what our Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was kind of explaining there. You've written about this very issue.
Rita.
Oh, Keir Starmer's had quite the week, though. He got enormous praise for his brave speech talking about boots on the ground in Ukraine and how the UK was going to step in. But literally within 15 seconds of boots on the ground, he mentioned all of that would need US support, something we know the US is not in any way interested in participating in. So take me through the week. It started off with this alliance amongst the European nations, but then it seems like we've gone back to Zelensky sitting down with Donald Trump and negotiating the peace deal he should have completed a week ago.
Yeah, look, Trump's domestic policies, I'm a big fan of Trump's domestic policies. I think there are some concerns, some serious concerns about his foreign policy. But however, in Britain in general, we're having media commentators almost having a meltdown, enraged at the isolationism that Trump seems to be introducing for America. And what it's doing, what it's done really is exposed how pathetic and how weak Britain and the European nation states are. We are like children tugging at the skirt of America, pretending to be big men and women on the world stage. And you saw Keir Starmer trying to fill that vacuum on the international stage, saying, we'll put boots on the ground. But as soon as he said that, the German Chancellor at the time kind of slapped him down and said, we're not going to put boots on the ground. And then he said, we need American backstop. And I think all of this is just he calls it the coalition of the willing, but it's actually the coalition of the deluded, because these are leaders who just simply refuse to accept early on that it's Trump. It's all about Trump. Whether you like him or loathe him, at this stage, all about Trump. As he said to Zelensky, he holds all the cards, whether you like it or not. And I think the rage of citizens in Britain, across Europe, should actually be turned not on Trump, but on our own leaders, because they have made us weak over successive decades. Mass immigration, if you have people coming in from all around the world, they're not going to have their allegiance to your country and fight for you. If you follow net zero policies, you're going to deindustrialize.
Our Turning Point founder, CEO, Charlie Kirk. Charlie, great to have you. So last night, I knew you were on the show tonight. I tuned in and I was listening to the podcast and I didn't get through all of it. But first of all, you were very gracious. You were very nice. You could have gone at him really, really hard. You did it in a really nice way. And I know Gavin too well. I've interviewed Gavin. I moderated.
Trump took to the White House in November on one issue more than any other, the economy. He hammered away at the messaging that on day one, costs would go down and the economy would once again surge. He called it the golden age of America. Well, this is what that golden age looks like in practice.
Even though those are low-paying jobs, the restaurant jobs and the leisure and hospitality jobs, they have sort of been a proxy for people having disposable money. A couple of days ago, Bank of America came out with their credit card data, and it was scary. I mean, shocking declines in restaurants, airlines, lodging. Just look at the most recent poll of people who said they're going to go traveling in the next few months. It has plunged. I think the boom times are over. All the free money has been spent. And this is why I have a problem, Steve, with the Federal Reserve and interest rates, because if they look at aggregate data, it looks great. And so, but the problem is that the 10% are doing 50% of buying, and everyone else is struggling because of higher rates. It's a no-win situation. In other words, we got to win. It's the richest people in America stumble before everyone else Main Street. I think, in addition to blowing up all the ways we examine data, we need to get the situation under control. Examine how they do the job, the transcription of your policy. Because they keep telling us they're willing to settle. I think we find a way to wield the scalpel, because what they're doing right now, it's heads to rich people win, tails to rich people win.
You know, I mean, Joel, Lindsay came out with a report a couple weeks ago that I mentioned a few times. Can Doge induce a recession? No, it can't. Okay, you're not going to get a recession just from Doge. Now, there are other things that have happened in this economy with this slowdown. We could see a recession, but it's not going to happen just because they're cutting wasted abuse out of this government, Joe.
We take care of our own.
Yeah, no, you're exactly correct. In fact, of the last 5 years, we have about 3.1 million jobs, and about more than half for government and services. And so those need to go.
A recession. It's Donald Trump 6 weeks having the strongest economy in the world to the brink of recession. He insisted on imposing tariffs, despite his worst voices, including mine, insisting every single day that it would spike prices and shrink our economy. He insisted, despite knowing that the economic uncertainty would impact the stock market. Weeks later, the market has now cratered and entered correction territory. This is what our market looks like compared to the rest of the world. Trump managed to preside over the worst market performance in the industrialized world.
Any chance you can spit out a fresh made pie?
Short moves. Gotta give him credit for one thing. At least while he's destroying the economy, he doesn't waste any time. Maybe that's what the entire Department of Government officials today. But at least Trump recognized the absolute disaster with tariffs and win, and he signaled that he's going to tamp down damaging rhetoric. Just get that sentence out. He's threatened to make
side effect from the wonky sodas.
But I asked you about this before, and I know you told me when I asked you that you did
You know exactly what this girl wants.
And you change it up with these tariffs, and you said to me at that time, I did it for the pen. I put the amendment in there, and I said in 6 years I can change it. But I can see a one-seat predictability. They say, look, I have to speak to shareholders. I've got to make plans for CapEx spending. I can't if it's 20% one day and then it's off for a month and it's 25%. So can you give us a sense of whether or not we're going to get clarity for the business community?
Well, I think so. But, the tariffs could go up as time goes by. They may go up and, I don't know if it's capability. I think
that's not fair.
No, I think they say that. That sounds good to start. But the big globalists have been ripping off the United States. They've been taking money into the United States and all some of it back.
Good news, America, that the business community was spooked after the first round of tariffs. This week, the guy in the Oval Office who went bankrupt 6 times gets to double down. And sure, that was over the economy, but Trump gets to feel strong. And frankly, is the economy really more important than Trump's ego? So, in fact, according to the Fed chair, inflation expectations are now rising, driven by Trump's tariffs. So he ran an election predicated on attacking Biden and Harris and Democrats for high inflation, and the very first thing he does in office is to take actions that are going to cause inflation to rise. When we say that Trump is a scam artist, now you see why. And of course, Republicans recognize what an impending disaster this is, and so they've already begun trotting out these concerns.
The president is now 45 days into his administration. You're transitioning from Bidenomics and terrible economy under the last administration. It takes a while to turn that ship around, but we are doing that. And the Congress is working hard by all the executive orders the president is doing.
We've got to transition out of this terrible economy. Except, let's think for something. When it comes to the stock market, it was high during Biden's term. In fact, you'd have to go back 2 years to have a week as bad as the one we're having right now. So this isn't residual damage left over from the Biden era, it is new. Or how about the weak jobs report? Trump added only 151,000 jobs in February, down from the expected 170,000, and not even half of what the average monthly job creation was under Biden at 336,000. And finally, with regard to everyday costs, something that, again, Trump claimed to care a lot about during the campaign, think about what happens when you tariff every good coming to the U.S. from Canada, Mexico, and China. Think about what happens when they impose retaliatory tariffs. Prices on everything go up, from food to pharmaceuticals to lumber to cars to auto parts, that not only that lost public elections not going to subside, it is being
Honestly, not a bad makeup.
all of the people today, while the White House wants to pin the blame on Biden, the reality is that the things that are bad right now are being bad under this White House, and they are the direct result of his policy. Trump wants to be the president. When is he going to accept the responsibility for what he actually does in office? Does it ever happen, or is he just hitting the point at Joe Biden forever? Or how about Trump's Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, who is worth $1 billion, saying this?
The United States also provides reserve assets, certain of first and last resort, and absorbs excess supply in the face of insufficient demand in other countries' domestic models. This system is not sustainable. Access to cheap goods is not the essence of the American dream.
See, you guys don't want cheap goods. You want to pay more for goods, because this way you'll really be deriving the full essence of the American dream. Why save money if you can just order stuff for the essence? Am I right? I mean, hell, it doesn't look like best arguments are working for any. Here he is with Trump-friendly Joe Kernan on CNBC.
We're not getting much credit. As of yesterday, energy prices were down 15%. Crude is down 15% since inauguration day. 10-year rates are down, mortgages are down, the spreads between the 10-year rate and mortgages come down. So we saw housing, we saw mortgage applications pop up last week. I think it's to keep up that trajectory. And Joe, the American dream is to be able to buy a house. We can't import houses.
This could all be a reflection of the economy slowing down.
You generally don't get credit for the residual benefits of an economy that is crashing. And look, I'm going to be honest here. None of this is surprising. The difference between how Trump brands himself on the economy and how he actually performs on the economy is as wide as the Grand Canyon. In his first term, he took Obama's record economy and left office.
Joining me now, Cornell Melcher, MSNBC political analyst, Democratic strategist, pollster, and founder of Brilliant Corners Research. Now, something good to see you. So, lots to get to here. Also saw a few policy reversals. So the Democrats gained many ground from Trump should be winning.
You say that, Heck?
Well, I think it's too early to tell. What I think you can tell is that Trump and Republicans aren't gaining ground. I mean, look, if you look at the numbers of polling that's coming out right now, it's remarkable what's happening. Once upon a time, the economy was Trump's strong suit, and now his approval on the economy is underwater. Is when you look at the number of Americans who are now saying that the cost of living is going in the wrong direction is 64%. Consumer confidence, as you know, is dropping. And earlier this week, I think Bloomberg had a report about how the economists were slashing growth expectations, and there's real talk of the probability of recession growing again, coming about in this country. So from an economic standpoint, it's hard to see on the key thing that I would argue that he thinks cultural was he's not at home, but it's really the thing that Pence talked most about was the economy and how he was going to fix the economy. And America was solid on that idea, and that's not at all helpful Trump or House Republicans.
I have a couple numbers to go through here, too, because there's a new poll taken in 2 days before Trump's address to Congress that shows 54% of Americans disapprove of Trump's handling of the cost of living. 51% disapprove of Trump's handling of the international trade, and 70% disagree with his rhetoric that Ukraine is more to blame for starting the war. So, big picture altogether, how are you interpreting these numbers?
Well, listen, I was put on our campaign now, right? And so for campaigns, if you're talking about 8 or 9 things, Alex, you're not talking about anything, right? Voters, it doesn't work that way. The problem is, for any other president, 1 or 2 of these things would be a major problem. And so what the Democrats really got to figure out is, what do they need to hone in on and drive that one message? Because quite frankly, and as you know, and you reported on it, that their strategy is to fill the box, right? To overwhelm us with too many things. I think Democrats have to figure out the 1 or 2 things that they're going to be consistent on and go after. And I think the idea that on the economy, look, I think you can make the idea that this has been one of the most disastrous economic starts of any president, right? With the stock market in free fall.
Security chief, the new arrival.
Meow. Meow.
Anymore, really. It's just the mission is what I'm trying to put together, which is just anymore, really. It's just the mission is what I'm trying to put together, which is just to make profit. So I just focus on that and make the profit, you know what I mean? And then like build the new fucking government that I've been talking about and telling you. Like, we've been living like this, bro. This is government shit. I don't know what y'all think. You know what I mean? It's not fake. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the real shit. You know what I mean? I am the new government. It's been like that. Y'all act like we gotta move them and shit. Like, they're gonna move when the time's right. You know what I mean? Target Sneak been the new government since day one. And y'all who don't get this shit, all these people keep
Right. The way it is. Yeah, absolutely.
So you're good, right? Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
I haven't even had so much as a traffic ticket in 25 years, so.
Yeah, I probably drive crazier than you.
Okay, so.
Try to pass everybody, yeah.
Well,
I'm ridiculous.
I don't do that. Only when it's, that 410 exit where you're trying to get off to go to your show, then you pass everything.
Right.
And I asked the guy at the airport, right before I got you, and I asked him, do you want me to pass this up? Can you leave? You know? We're going to 81 South, so they go to the train station.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, so Vegas, I've been there a few times.
Yeah.
4 years, almost 5 years ago.
Yeah, I had made about like 20 grand in a week in blackjack, so
gonna cap my limit, go over there and try my luck again. Yeah.
It's so awesome. I've always loved every time.
Well, I want to gamble professionally, like I want it to be my job. So I got enough money now to work with and try to do it. So I think I can do it.
What happens?
If I lose, I just set my limit at about $5,000, and if I lose, I get the hell out of there and run away.
That's what I do.
Yeah, tuck my tail in and get the hell out of Dodge.
Oh, it's so cool. I would like to go to Vegas. I've been wanting just to leave town for a while, though, myself, you know?
Right.
I get bored, you know? I go to the farms, I go.
Oh, yeah. Me too. Shit, yeah.
I want to go to Fiji.
That'd be cool, yeah.
You know, I want to go to the Caribbean somewhere.
Right.
I don't want to be here. I like doing this, though.
You should get my number. I'm going to be traveling all the time. That's what I'm going to be doing, so.
Really?
Yeah. I'm trying to go to, like, different states, New York. No, not just to gamble, but, I mean, yeah, I'm always, like, business-oriented, but that's kind of part of it, yeah. But I just want to travel. I'm just, like, I've already lived, like, all over the U.S. I travel a lot. Yeah.
So where was your last place before?
Dallas, I think. Yeah, I was in Dallas, Austin, next to Mexico. A couple of different spots.
Yeah. Wow.
Yo, what's up, people? This is Tyrese Dean, and I just want to say some shit real quick. Alright? And here's what I have to say. First of all, I don't know if these motherfuckers fucking jacked my laptop while they were showing me, like, this room. I don't know if they fucking jacked my laptop when the fat bitch in the front said that she was going to watch it. That's number one. Either that, or I somehow left it at the other hotel, which I'm going to try to check on both. And I'm going to ask that I want to see the fucking security footage, and they're going to have to look at it, and I need to fucking see it. And if not, I'm going to have to fucking put a lawyer on it and fucking sue the shit out of them or something, because I'm not just going to have shit stolen from me. Like, I'm not worried about nothing, man. That's what people don't get. You know what I mean? Like, I've lost some money out here. Today I made a little bit of money. I put in like $460. I made $1,700. Still playing blackjack. Still living my life. I'm not afraid to lose money like all you pussy-ass, cock-sucking, weak motherfuckers. I'm not afraid of losing all my money. Y'all are some fucking cowards, and you live like cowards, and that's why you make it nowhere and why none of y'all have shit. You understand? I don't need you to understand. I know you suckers don't understand, and that's why all y'all is fucked up and broke. And all these celebrities live in an illusion and ain't fucking rich, and they don't work, and they don't have a job. And the only way you get paid in this world, unless you sell your soul, period, and have real money that you own and own shit, the only way you do that is to fucking work. Period. Whether it be for yourself, or work for other people and invest in yourself, or work, period. But all these celebrities and all these people, I'm so tired of you motherfuckers. I had another bitch the other night trying to fucking argue with me, and I told her straight up, no, bitch, no. Those motherfuckers is broke. Get it right, bitch. Like, know what you talk about. If not, shut your fucking piece of shit ignorant mouth. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But, like, as far as people playing with me, bro, if they think they're going to play with me, they're going to find out fucking with me, I promise, on everything. You know what I'm saying? It's going to get ugly. Real quick. You know what I mean? But I just want to let people know that, bro. You know what I mean? Like I have nothing to hide, bro. You know what I mean? I'm done telling people how much money I'm sitting on, what I'm doing, all that sucker shit, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I don't give a fuck what anybody out here thinks of me. I don't care what none of you fuck.
Handling the chainsaw of bureaucracy comes with a price. Elon told Rogan the left wants him dead.
These are real enemies. Like, I think they actually want to kill me. I mean, the reason I know, well, they say so online. You know? Yeah. There's like Reddit forums where they don't just want to kill me, they want to desecrate my corpse.
Elon's security details working overtime to keep him safe, so
It's
the left's
nuts.
taking out its anger on Tesla owners and dealerships. One lives suffering from Musk.
Oh no, poor Elon. Well, I think that I don't know why you're trying to joke around with this.
If there's somebody who's involved in a political movement and you have a group of people that are actively cooperating with each other to collaborate to like kill the person, like that's a very big problem. Even if it's a political movement that you disagree with. And if you can't see that being a problem, you can't see this happening, you can't see how this is bad, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. Poor multi-billionaires so helpless. What do you think it's okay to do this? No, real quick. Do you think it's okay you post death threats on people or not? Is it okay to like how much money is it to where if you can post a death threat on somebody it's okay? How much? What's the amount? No, of course not. Not okay. Then why are you making light of it? Why are you trying to turn this into something, a situation that it's not? You're trying to invalidate this. So you know, why would you do that? Like, this is what I was saying before about how these people lose the optics every time. No, it's not normal and reasonable to go on a Reddit thread and make these comments constantly about killing people. It's not fucking normal. Nobody thinks this shit's normal except for other weird fucks just like this. Account created today? I don't know about that. Yeah, you gotta dial this shit down, man. Yeah, like you really like. I mean, this shit like it's just not a. He typed something. Well, let me listen to this real quick. Because he's crying on Joe Rogan about it, but no one should get death threat. He's not crying on Joe Rogan about it. You don't like Elon Musk, and so you're saying he says this is what's happening to me. He goes on Joe Rogan to talk about his life, and then he talks about his life. You say he's crying about. Oh, come on, man, bro. Like, get real. Get real. He's talking about it. Yeah, like it's so weird, bro. So weird. Where do these people come from?
I'm in the mansion.
Then suffering from muscular syndrome just got arrested outside of Boston for vandalizing random Teslas.
Thank God.
Why do you think you have the right to do that?
Look, you need to get this
under control. Free speech not on your part. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Get a better car. It's not up to you to say anything. Like I said, we have a difference of opinion. Yes, that was a Palestinian flag strapped to the back of that guy's bike.
I'm sure the Palestinians really appreciate that. This retard going around making their movement feel like it's full of retards.
In a different incident outside of Boston, half a dozen charging stations were torched overnight, and the suspects are still at large. On the West Coast, a radical lefty activist was charged with firebombing and shooting up a Tesla dealership.
On Tuesday, a man was arraigned after police linked him to 2 separate cases at the Salem Tesla.
They gotta
many bloody times.
They gotta wrap this.
You give me an axe, I'm gonna turn you into fire status.
This is an insane level of arraignment. And at the end of the day, like, this can't have a society like this terrorism. It is terrorism. It's straight up like, what the fuck is going on? How does this even happen? I don't know. Like, yeah, it's political, therefore it's terrorism. Yeah, it's taking over the whole region. Yeah. And the thing is that they've gotta. Here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. Unless these people self-regulate, or there's like a degree of accountability for some of these bad actors, this situation will continue getting worse until the backlash on it will be a reduction in personal freedoms. And that's what I'm afraid of. You think about what happened after 9/11. Not like this is going to be like 9/11, but that's when we got the Patriot Act. That's what it was. And so I don't want to have a situation like this where more of my personal privacy, more of my personal liberties are put at risk because a couple of mentally ill Redditors want to draw on a test. I don't want to have this happen. And I know it's going to. And it will happen if they keep doing this, because do you really think that these massively powerful, that these people believe are these psychopath, crazy, horrible people are just going to roll over and let you fuck them over? Of course they don't. This is bad. Yeah, they're speedrunning Real ID on the internet. They are. getting greater punishments for this behavior what happened before the restriction? I don't know. It depends on what the catalyst is. Yeah, this is bad. It is really bad.
Police say these surveillance images at the dealership show Alan Young throwing multiple items at the dealership and sparking tires. It's also alleged that on a separate occasion, Lansky fired several rounds into the dealership and at least one vehicle.
The left. See, this is the kind of shift I'm talking about. Is that the radicalization that's happening online? This does bleed into real life. It does. And I think that it's 100% terrorism. Yeah, I think that this kind of stuff really needs to be like, they need to nip this in the bud because it's already gotten out of control. And some of these platforms that allow this stuff, this is, I mean, like,
all right, this is some good stuff. We finally got the video of J.D. Vance being confronted by pro-Ukraine protesters in Cincinnati this morning, and it's not nearly as dramatic as J.D. Vance made it out to be. He acted like they ambushed him, but it seems to be like a level-headed conversation, and I do want to break down the arguments being made on both sides so we understand where everybody stands. It started off this morning when J.D. Vance said, "Today, while walking my 3-year-old daughter, a group of Slava Ukraini protesters followed us around and shouted as my daughter grew increasingly anxious and scared. I decided to speak with the protesters